It says there is substantial doubt the company, deep in debt, will survive.
Kodak was started by George Eastman in 1888. He made up the name Kodak. He liked the letter K.
Kodak brought photography to the masses with brownie box cameras and later the Instamatic. Kodak moment became a national catchphrase. Neil Armstrong captured a few of them with a Kodak camera.
But Kodak fell victim to competition from Fujifilm and digital cameras. It survived bankruptcy in 2012, but no longer makes cameras, focusing now on printers, movie film, pharmaceuticals, and licensing the Kodak name.
Kodak says it still hopes to pay off its debt and survive.
We will see what develops, so to speak.
Kodak's been a household name for over a century, but in recent years, they've been struggling to stay afloat. Their financial woes have been well documented, and it's hard not to wonder if they're on the verge of disaster. With the rise of digital photography, Kodak's traditional film business has been in decline, and they've been trying to adapt to the changing landscape. But just how bad are things? Kodak's filed for bankruptcy in the past, and they've had to lay off thousands of employees in recent years. Their stock price has been on a roller coaster ride, and it's hard to predict what the future holds. Kodak's struggles are significant because they've been a major player in the photography industry for so long. If they were to go under, it would be a huge blow to the industry as a whole. So, let's take a closer look at what's been going on with Kodak and see if we can figure out if they're really on the brink of disaster. Kodak was once the gold standard in photography, with a rich history that dates back to 1880. They dominated the film market for decades, and their name became synonymous with photography. But as digital photography began to rise, Kodak was slow to adapt. They did try to get into the digital game, but they were late to the party, and their efforts were met with limited success. Meanwhile, competitors like Canon and Nikon were eating away at their market share. By the early 2000s, Kodak was in trouble, and they began to struggle to stay afloat. They sold off assets, cut costs, and tried to restructure, but it wasn't enough. In 2012, Kodak filed for bankruptcy, and it was a huge blow to the company. They emerged from bankruptcy in 2013, but the damage had been done. So, what's the latest news on Kodak's financial status? Well, in recent years, they've been trying to shift their focus to commercial printing and imaging. They've made some significant investments in new technologies, but it's an uphill battle. In 2020, Kodak reported a net loss of over $200 million, and their debt has been rising. They've had to take on more debt to fund their operations, and it's a worrying trend. In January of this year, Kodak announced that they were exploring strategic alternatives, including a potential sale of the company. It's a clear sign that they're struggling to find a way forward. Kodak's CEO, Bill Costas, has been trying to turn things around, but it's tough. He said that they're focused on executing their turnaround plan, but it's taking longer than expected. Industry experts have been weighing in on Kodak's situation, and the consensus is that it's a tough road ahead. Some have expressed concerns about Kodak's ability to compete in the rapidly changing imaging landscape. Kodak's been trying to innovate, but it's not easy. They've had some successes like their line of mobile printing products, but it's not enough to offset their losses. One thing's for sure, Kodak's situation is being closely watched by industry insiders. If they were to go under, it would have significant implications for the photography and imaging industry. Roger M.N. Clark, a well-known photography expert, had this to say about Kodak. Kodak has a lot of great products and a lot of great people, but they're just not executing well. So, what does the future hold for Kodak? It's hard to predict, but one thing's for sure, they're at a crossroads. They've got some tough decisions to make, and it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. Their struggles serve as a reminder of how quickly things can change in the tech industry. Kodak's situation is a cautionary tale about the importance of innovation and adaptability. As we reflect on Kodak's situation, it's clear that their struggles have significant implications for their stakeholders and the industry as a whole. Eastman Kodak's financial statements and key ratios tell a powerful story of mounting strain that almost inevitably pointed toward workforce reductions. To begin, the company's declining profitability and negative free cash flow are glaring red flags. In 2024, Kodak generated negative $46 million in free cash flow, meaning it spent more than it generated from its operations, a pattern that has persisted for years. When a company continually burns cash, reducing overhead, often via layoffs, becomes a necessary move. Kodak's first quarter 2025 financials reinforce this trend. The company posted a GAAP net loss of $7 million, down sharply from a net income of $32 million in the first quarter of the previous year. Meanwhile, operational EBITDA halved from $4 million to $2 million. At the same time, Kodak's cash balance fell from $201 million at the end of 2024 to $158 million, a drop of $43 million, driven by ongoing capital investments and elevated operating costs. This erosion of liquidity heightens urgency to cut costs fast, with payroll often being the largest adjustable expense. Further compounding the issue are key ratios highlighting Kodak's weak financial position. Its current ratio sits below 1 at approximately 0.79, signaling that short-term liabilities outstrip current assets. Essentially, this means Kodak might struggle to meet its immediate obligations without trimming expenses, including workforce reductions. Profit margins are thin to negative. Operating margin is around negative 2.7%, while net profit margin hovers near 1%, far below healthy levels. Kodak's balance sheet and debt profile also paint a precarious picture. The company flagged substantial doubt about its ability to continue as a going concern, citing nearly $500 million in debt coming due within 12 months with insufficient committed financing. When facing such imminent debt obligations, without liquidity or refinancing secured, the pressure to reduce fixed costs skyrockets. Layoffs become one of the few levers management can pull quickly and effectively. Another element of Kodak's financial maneuvering involves pension plan suspensions. The company initiated a halt in retirement pension plan payments to conserve cash and help cover its looming debt burden. While an extreme measure, this move underscores how deeply cash-strapped Kodak has become. Employers typically consider layoffs alongside or even before pension suspension as cost-saving steps. Taken together, these signals negative cash flow, eroding margins, declining cash reserves, a troubled balance sheet with massive near-term debt obligations, poor liquidity ratios, and pension cuts, all converge to make layoffs not just probable, but increasingly necessary. Each metric individually is concerning, but together, they form a textbook scenario where workforce reduction is a logical and urgent strategy to stabilize finances. So, what do you think? Is Kodak on the brink of disaster? Share your thoughts in the comments below.